Are we going back in time? Why? Am I doing a review on an Arcade1up Marvel Pinball? I'm going to get into that. Of course, if you come across a deal, you should get into it too. Here's my review of the Arcade1up Marvel Pinball. We'll go over some specs quick and then get right into the gameplay. I'm actually pretty impressed with this. You might like this. You might like the Star Wars. You might like Attack from Mars. Nevertheless, this one's Marvel, and here's my review. 61 inches high. It comes out 34 inches long. The width is really similar to a deluxe, around that 18 inches wide. And the back glass stands 19.5 inches high. And 20 3/4 wide. So it is going to stick out a little bit further than the actual table itself. It does come out about 1.5 inches wider than the table. And it does depend where you're going to move your feet with mine. And I'll zoom in on where I set mine. This is coming 37.5 inches high. This is flush. This is as high as I can go. Could go a little bit lower, but I don't want this wobbling. You can see all of them are exactly the same. I always kind of wondered about this. It is nice having the grill covers. You can see that 7.5 inch screen right there. This is probably from 2021. Same kind of time frame was Golden Axe, and you can see not having those grill covers. Same thing with Turtles. Kind of wonder why they keep going back and forth with that. And the plunger works pretty good along with the button. And the thing about the button is it's different than those standard, like they sink in buttons. It comes out. So every Arcade1up Pinball is going to have this plunger button. It's cool, you know, it reminds you of the real thing using this, but when I'm playing, I always press this. Just kind of have a fear of just kind of wearing this out, but you know, there's no right or wrong answer. You can do this, you can do that. I go with this. And something pointed out in other reviews is you can see this plastic coating on your flipper, so you're not going to wear that artwork, and you can't even see it. And yeah, the flipper buttons had that sink in, so it's the same as your standard Arcade1up button. The same goes for the other side where you can see the Black Panther, as you have that clear protective coating. And before we get into some gameplay, corner to corner, it's a 24-inch screen, and the width is right at 12 inches. Marvel Pinball does come with 10 games, starting off with The Amazing Spider-Man, Civil War, A-Force, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Thor, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Venom, and Fear itself. And I want to give quick demo gameplay of all 10 games on this table, so when we do hit our launch, or what I like to call the plunger button, gives you your menu. Since it's only me, we're going to hit single player, and then it says your game will start soon. It just takes a little bit, and it will bring us right to the actual table. And really quick before we play, something I want to point out is some of these tables have a lot of dead space. You can see on the bottom here. That doesn't bother me as much as on the top. It's nice having Dr. Octopus, or who I like to call Dr. Octavius, at the top of the screen, because there are tables that have so much dead space at the top. I mean, let's face it, it is a TV screen, and it is nice to have that interaction on that LCD screen. And we have two ways. We can pull the plunger, or we can hit that plunger button, which again, I prefer to hit the plunger. And it's cool having all the interactions with most of Spidey's villains. There are a couple that are missing from this table. You do get some of the classics though, with the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and Mysterio, just to name a couple. Sandman, Rhino, and Venom. But Venom does have his own table. But I can see why they put this as the first game on this table. I think it's superior. In my opinion, it's the best table on this machine. If you want to get to the main page, hit the two front white buttons at the same time. The game pauses. It will bring up this menu, and we'll go all the way down to exit menu. Hit your launch or your plunger button, and we're going to hit right flipper, and it takes us right back to the main page. Next game, Civil War. There's a lot of people that would pick Civil War as one of their favorite tables, and I can't disagree with that. It is a fun table. It's cool seeing that interaction between Captain America and Iron Man, but you do get a lot of dead space. Look at on the bottom and at the top. There's just so much more room. They could have did a little bit more with this. You do get some animation, but if you hit the plunger button, it'll take you right to the start of the game. And this time I'm just going to press the launch plunger button.
It was coming anyway. I always thought registration was inevitable, though I did try.
But I did have a lot of fun
But after Stanford,
playing Civil War, and I think it's a good follow-up game after Spider-Man. I think there's a lot of good tie-ins. If you've been following the Marvel movies, having a Civil War table makes a lot of sense because we had Captain America in the Civil War movie. And something I did miss, instead of going right down to exit to main menu, if we hit table guide, you can get it more in depth. And check this out. There's super combos, registration, safe house for Captain America, and a Punisher section. So every table's gonna have this. Just something else to check out when you're getting used to some of these tables. And a pretty cool startup screen. I really enjoyed this game too, and a lot of people give this high praises. It's cool seeing some of the storylines, because it is a video game, but it's not. You know, you think you're playing pinball, but having some of this on here, I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, I mean, this is great. I don't remember stuff like this on the Attack from Mars table. But you get right here, and you see all the women of Marvel, like She-Hulk. It's a pretty unique cabinet, but all the dead space on top. Just something that I'm going to kind of point out in every table. Call it a cabinet, it's a table, used to the arcades. But you do get unique features with every one of these. When an actual gun shoots out your pinball.
Come on. We should look for another way around.
I did notice this one is a little harder than Spider-Man. I would say Spider-Man's pretty easy. Maybe that's why I like it so much, and because it's Spider-Man. But this one does take some getting used to and some skill, but I do enjoy playing this. I think it's a fun table.
This isn't working, Widow. We need another plan.
Now, who doesn't like X-Men? Always exciting to play an X-Men game, and this is a great table. One thing about this is you're not going to see Wolverine, because Wolverine does have his own game. You get some Wolverine voices, but you're not going to see him on the playing field. But a pretty colorful table. Actually, this was the second table I played. The first time I powered it on, I went right to Spider-Man, and then I found X-Men because, you know, it's X-Men. But just like any other table, you're going to see a lot of open space on the top. At least on the bottom of this one, you do see Charles Xavier in the bottom left-hand corner.
Why do you defy your own race, X-Men? Join me!
It's just cool having these extra features like Cerebro, Unite, X-Men Assignments, Phoenix Force. I mean, if you're familiar with any storylines from X-Men, capturing Magneto, I mean, it goes right in It's a classic 90s. You do get a Fantastic Four table on here. And this is a fun table too. Only flaw, guys, and I'm just gonna keep saying this. If you're an Ultimate Marvel fan, like, you're gonna love this table. I love this table. Only thing is I just wish there was more stuff at the top of the screen. And you can make the case, you can say, I wish this was a bigger screen. Even if it was bigger, you'd still see that open space. And,
Get out of my way!
you know, as we go through this review, this is really the only thing that I'm gonna kind of complain about in a nice way, because
All safe.
I think they did a great job with the games, with the theming. I don't know if there's a table I would have rather seen on here than the other. I just wish that we would have had, you know what, maybe more of like a realistic pinball machine where on the bottom you see like the rules. And maybe the top, maybe I let that go. Maybe if they did something like that, I'd say, you know, it's close to tricking yourself that you're seeing the general rules. Just like if we got a 3/4 scale arcade and underneath the bezel, like you would see the rules right here. I just wish they would have did the same thing with these pinballs. And we're going right to Asgard playing Thor. Another fun table. And it's cool, the further you get in some of these, the interactions you do see with some of these characters. And just before we get started, having the castle in the back, like at least it's something instead of just like a wall or something. So I guess you do have that going for you, but I get the only thing, like just as we're doing this together, I would put the rules right here. I think that would have been a good touch.
I welcome you to our family and our brotherhood. Nice shot.
Sometimes it's hard to stop playing. Something that I'm finding out, and it's been a while since I've had a digital pinball, is you can play this for an extended amount of time. Like, it's fun. I'm just not used to playing pinball since I had my previous, which was an Atkins Micro Pinball, and I did have a lot of fun playing that. And this reminds me a lot of that. The only thing difference is, you know, you have the Marvel games on here. Plus the size, but it's, you know, the games are important, and having Marvel for a standpoint of a plug and play, basically, it's the best way, easiest way to get Marvel on your pinball. Now it's just preference, but Ghost Rider isn't one of my favorites on here. I do like Ghost Rider, the character. It's, as far as the pinball, I would rather go to a Spider-Man and X-Men, even Thor, before I go to Ghost Rider. I do like the top. It's pretty filled out. And the bottom, I think from a standpoint of like a table that's maximizing the space, they did a pretty good job with this one. It's just that going through the 10, this is going to be a game that I skip a lot, but I'll play every once in a while. It's just, it's hard not to play Spider-Man for me. It's hard not to play X-Men. I guess you have to be in the mood. I mean, I'm kind of appreciating the theming here, but not one of my favorite tables. I think it takes some getting used to. And I was excited to see this Wolverine, especially after playing the X-Men game and not having Wolverine on that table. Seeing what we would get on a Wolverine, and the most disappointing part of this table is all of this space up here. You do have a Sentinel, you do have the Ninja on the left, the Samurai, but there's so much space, and I think Wolverine is the most noticeable out of any table with how much space there is on here. And it really takes away from playing this. It's just like they like crunched everything. I mean, you see Wolverine on the bottom here where the flippers are. They just crunched everything, and it just doesn't look right. You know, Wolverine is superior as far as, you know, like one of your favorite Marvel characters. I mean, he's right up there with a lot of people, and I think they could have did a little bit better with this table, unfortunately. Especially with all that room on the top. I did have a lot of fun playing Venom though, and the thing about Venom is Spider-Man is in this game. See, I wish they would have put Wolverine not only in the X-Men game, but then on his own table, because you just look at this table, it's not as crunched. It's a little confusing. This is a hard one because you got to get past here, but it's not as crunched as that Wolverine table. But this does take some skill. You can see Carnage on the far bottom. And you really got to work at it till you can get in that upper level where Venom is. Especially when there's two balls coming and you have limited playing field right here. It's very challenging. And the last table is Fear itself, and see, it's a challenging table. Not one of my favorites. I would put this and Ghost Rider as two of them that, you know, I'll play, but I'm not going to pick it over something like Fantastic Four, or Spider-Man, or X-Men.
As their fear strengthens, so too does my power. Punish and terrify every single living thing.
Kind of has that Venom feel to it.
We need more weapons. Fear is spreading all over the world.
Quick look of all 10 tables, going backwards counterclockwise with Fear itself.
Punish and terrify every single living thing.
Shot of Venom. And you might be able to get a better look at Carnage right there on the bottom. And Wolverine, a game that I think they could have did a lot better on. Just notice the Sentinel in the top right hand corner. You are going to get some interaction from him. And it's funny they have the Sentinel in Wolverine and you don't see him in the X-Men table. I feel like I'm not giving Ghost Rider any love. The table's growing on me more. After going through everything, I've been playing this for 2 weeks now, and I haven't gone through every game in one night before, prior to this review. And actually, this is better. We're having more. I like this better than the Wolverine, better than the Fear itself. I don't know if I'd put it over Thor yet, but maybe it's not as bad as, not that it was bad, but just that I didn't want to pick it over other games. I'm not going to pick it over Spider-Man, but yeah, unfortunately, I think Wolverine might be my least favorite. I don't know. This isn't too bad.
Welcome to Asgard. For Asgard! Fantastic! Golden apple acquired.
If we could get Thor moving here, it'd be cool to see him.
Surtur stirs, my son. Only evil can come of this. Mighty.
What's cool about Fantastic Four is it just takes you right back to your childhood. I mean, the Fantastic Four was just like such a big part. Not favorite superheroes from my childhood, but a huge part of it. You know, in the early 80s, like there was,
Great shot.
Fantastic Four was pretty much everywhere. I do like that they used the 90s X-Men for this game. Because I think that's when the X-Men really blew up, was early 90s, mid 90s, and then we got the animated series. But the comics back then just kind of really started getting big for Marvel. But it's funny, there's no Sentinel in this. You're not seeing Wolverine.
Why do you deploy your own race, X-Men?
I guess seeing Cerebro at the top, I didn't think of that before. And at the, you know, both on the right and the left hand side. I guess that's why we're not seeing a Sentinel, but it's just kind of interesting theming to put the Sentinel in the Wolverine game. A-Force is a really good table. I think it's a good follow-up with, after playing Spider-Man, after playing Civil War. I think they did a really good job with this table. The only thing you might see is the reflection from the back glass hitting the screen. Not sure how it's showing up on your end, but I can see the marble sitting at the top over here, so you are going to get that because it's basically the light is shining right down on there. But I prefer it lit up than not lit up. You know, we started off with Spider-Man, we're ending with Spider-Man. I have a lot of fun playing this game. I think that A-Force is a good runner-up to this. I think that's the second best table on here. And it's not a matter of, you know, what games, you know, are they all good. Spider-Man is that good where I think it's worth picking up this pinball. And, you know, it does have a price point. I got a little bit of an incentive on mine. Some gift cards, some points. It was $5.99. I had it down to $4.16. I think $5.99 or under is where you want to get this. $7.49 is a little steep for this pinball. You know, we're not going to get everything for $4.99, $3.99. But I think this is $5.99 or less. You know, you pick this up at the right price, and I think you'd really like it. I'm not saying this is the best way to play pinball, but it's the most cost-effective way. And for a guy like me who's into Marvel, who's into superheroes, this is a perfect pinball for me. Having these 10 games on here, most of them are really good, and I'm pretty much set with this for a while until, you know, I go elsewhere and I try to get something different. But for now, you can make the case of picking up an Arcade1up Pinball in 2024. Who doesn't like Marvel? I could play this Spider-Man all day. It's a great table. And it's just a lot higher than you think. I mean, just look at where you see some of these stands. It's right up there. I always thought these were small.